And so we're doing things a little bit differently today. Normally I put my stuff up on Twitch, but today I'm going to go straight to YouTube just so it'll be right up on the channel right away. So today is going to be a special Sunday School edition for Paragon, Epic's brand new MOBA that they've been working on for a while. The early access has actually been going since March, but as they've had a couple of free-to-play weekends for a couple of days, but otherwise it's only been playable by anyone who's purchased a Founders Pack. Speaking of, that brings me to to a little bit of news that they just announced. Starting on Tuesday, every PlayStation Plus member will get a free basic Founders Pack, which normally runs at $20. And in addition to that, they're offering the 25% discount on the upgrades. So the other two packs are the Challenger and the Master, which respectively normally cost $60 and $100, but with the discount should only be about 20 and let's see, 60. Yeah, it should be around like 40 and $60, I believe. Somewhere 45 or 60. Anyway, yeah, it's a really good deal. If you're looking into getting into this game seriously, get for $60 the Masters Pack is unbelievable value. But that aside, the main thing we're going to be covering here is just what exactly is Paragon, what makes a MOBA and what separates us from the others. Well, let's start with that. So a MOBA, for those who don't know, is a multiplayer online battle arena. So, sorry. And so that means it's a team of 5-on-5. You have 3 lanes, left, mid, right. Minions spawn from your base and the enemy's base. They move down the lanes and clash. And the basic goal is to kill minions and enemy players to level up, collect amber, which is this game's version of gold or money, to power up your heroes, and then So you want to break through the enemy towers, which are basically little forts. There's about 6 of them. Then you push closer into the inhibitors. They're basically like bigger, stronger towers. And then finally, you want to get into the enemy's team's base and destroy their core. Now, the interesting thing that separates Paragon from other MOBAs is most of them are typically like a top-down point-and-click thing on PC. This game is actually shared on both PC and PS4, so all progress is shared concurrently. So you can be playing on PS4 and then switch over to PC and back seamlessly. You won't lose any progress. As far as I know, the only thing that is kind of weird is your coins, if you have any. You can earn these sometimes from little packages, or you can buy them with real money. It's mostly used for like cosmetic stuff and EXP boost. It doesn't actually affect anything in game. This is not a pay-to-win game. I want to put that out there right now. But anyway, there is a little problem where if you collected like your coins on one platform, that may not show up in your account when you log in on the other, but you won't ever lose them. Is the main thing. And I'm pretty sure that's probably just a bug that they're going to fix at some point. Right, so I've covered this a bit before in my previous video, but the big thing here is the deck building. So, real quick, we'll go over this is kind of like the shop from League of Legends. It's basically how you customize your character, pick what abilities you want to use throughout the game. And all the characters they have different skill rankings, so I'm not sure about the exact levels. I know right at the very beginning you can only use characters who are labeled as easy. Then I think at around level 3 or 4 it'll let you play the intermediate characters, and then you will eventually unlock the advanced, and then finally you have the expert characters. These rankings don't mean that they're necessarily better or more powerful. It just means that they're more complex. Like Kalari in particular is extremely difficult to get the hang of right away. She's a highly technical character. I don't know why Sevarog is classified that way. I actually don't find him to be that complex. But it's whatever. Murdoch in particular is rightly listed as easy since he is capped in easy mode, like by far. Like he is brain dead, stupid, simple to use, and just does a ton of damage. Honestly, in my opinion, he's borderline overpowered. Less so than he was before they made the changes to critical hit, but he's still freakishly strong. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we're gonna go with Rampage because he's just a basic melee character, and I want to highlight that yes, there is aiming and shooting and everything, but I just want to show you guys from the basic standpoint of a melee character. We can cover Murdoch later, maybe if there's time, but for now, let's just jump right in. So we go over to the deck creator. I should point out too that at the beginning you'll only have 5 deck slots. I've got about 11 now because I've been leveling. I'm level 34, so I've unlocked quite a few. You can actually buy them, and this is a really good deal here too. So that's basically $10 right there to get, like, normally you can spend 15,000 rep, which is a crap ton because you're better off spending those on card packs. A single slot will run you $2, or you can pay 10 and get 2 bonus slots. So if you're really like that impatient, or you just have the cash to spare, you can go ahead with this. Is a pretty good deal. But I would advise against buying the slots altogether. So yeah, might as well cover it real quick. So yeah, this is what you can buy with real money. You can buy EXP boosts, which help you level up both your account and all your characters. And then you can buy reputation, which is basically the in-game currency which you use to buy other things like card packs. So anyway, it's mainly just there to like buy cosmetic stuff and speed up the time investment. There's nothing you can outright buy that will make you perform better in a game. You can make the argument that spending money to buy more cards can give you an advantage, but the cards you get in a pack are totally random, so just because you're spending money on it doesn't necessarily mean you'll get all the best cards. And anyway, it's really a non-issue. I wouldn't lose sleep over it. So let's just get into it then. So like I said, we're going to be going with Rampage, who is a green-red hero. Now they have their own names for this, but I mean, I played a lot of Magic the Gathering, and plus it's just easier to go by the colors, so I just stick with the colors. I don't bother with like order, fury, intellect, all that nonsense. So this is sort of the heart of, not really the heart of the deck, but this is your biggie. Every deck will have a prime card, and it will generally correspond to the role you want to do. So Archmagus is for anyone, mostly for supports and casters. Although there are some attackers who do use energy damage, like Murdoch and Grim. And then there's space physical damage, which again, there's a good mix of ranged and physical attackers who use this. And then there's Centurion, which is basically for tanks. It is worth noting that sometimes Centurion can be the right pick for a support class, just to give them just for that extra 1,000 health and to buff your minions. But for the most part, you'll probably stick with the Archmagus. Now, these cards only activate after you kill the prime minion and bring the orb to the spawner, and I'll explain that in a bit later. But yeah. These are basically just super cards that you can periodically activate for a short time in the game. They're not something you're going to be using reliably. So we'll take the Warlord. And then just for some, we'll add some basic starting cards. We'll add a Harvester Key because this is typically something you want to leave. The keys are typically something you want to leave to your jungler characters, which I'll explain a little bit later. But they're for activating the harvesters, which are little structures that collect amber, the in-game currency that you use to buy your abilities. And they're it basically speeds up the placement of them, because without these keys it can take like 15 seconds, which is a hell of a lot of downtime to be sitting out of the fight. So it's nice to have them. Typically you want to use this right in the beginning and then discard it, unless you have a dedicated jungler, in which case it's their job to do it. I personally don't use wards a whole hell of a lot, but they are invaluable at higher levels, especially if the other team has a Kalari or others junglers on them. You want to have at least one person running wards, because they're used to detect enemy heroes in range. So basically you put this down, and if somebody comes within range of it, they'll pop up. It'll give a little ping on the radar, letting you know that they're there. Health potion is almost a must. Is a must-have for pretty much any attacker and damage dealer. Occasionally some mages will want to run this too, just in the early game. It actually both the health potion and mana potion got nerfed recently. They used to be a lot more potent, but they're still pretty strong. You're getting basically 150 health back for just one card point. And as a point of reference, health cards typically give you 100 health per card point spent. So you're already gaining 50%. It used to actually be 14 over health over 15 seconds, and it had 3 charges. Now it's been nerfed down to 2, but it's still very good to have. Mana potion can be good too. I have a few unique cards that they just recently added as well. The jungle drink is really nice. Gives you bonus damage to jungle minions, which are basically like little neutral camps of enemies that spawn. The bump juice is kind of cool too. Keep in mind, I'm not going to use all of these. I'm just putting in. This is like a very basic example of a deck. But this is nice too, because this gives you an instant increase of 85 health. So it's less health than the potions, but it gives it to you right away, which if you're really low on health in the middle of a fight, this can save you. And then so we'll pick a few, take one. Put them in directly for now. I'm going to put in a couple of what I'm going to basically trash equipment. Stuff I'm not necessarily going to use like in the long run. Just putting it in now as a discard, as something to discard later, and I'll show you what I mean in a bit. Let's see, do I want to go with critical hit? Not really. Actually, yes. Put that in. So put that in there too. Actually, I heard the Apex is really good too. Particularly good for him. So we'll move that. Hunger Maul. Impact Hammer is very good. Alright, so this is okay for now. It's actually too many cards, but we're gonna go over this real quick. So here we're going to use, okay, so Flashfire. This is actually a pretty good card. Normally I like to keep this in the long run, but we're gonna use this just as a kind of basic start. So I'll put a little bit of speed, a little bit of damage. Okay, for a bit of reference here, one card point is typically worth 7.6 attack and 6.5 attack speed. So, hence this thing costs 2. You're getting 1 in each. Here's the nice thing with equipment though. See this, not all of them, but a lot of them have an upgrade bonus. So once you've slotted 3 pieces of equipment and spent card points on each of them, you get an extra bit of points. So for this one, you get an extra 6.5 attack speed, basically for free, just for leveling up and picking all 3 cards. So keep that, and then this one. Nope, I didn't link it. So put those in, link it. So this is just like a quick little start. This is actually a pretty big deal too in the early game. You want cheap equipment that you can set up, level up, and then it's just to get the bonus right away because you're going to get a big increase in power. It's not, and then eventually you want to replace it later through the game. One of the unfortunate things I really don't like about Paragon is you'll notice you can actually link up to 6 cards per piece of equipment. But the only problem is once you've picked 3 pieces, you're locked out. Like if I take these 3 upgrades, and then confirm that, I can't swap them out for these later on, which is a real shame. I wish they would change that. But for now, this is how the game works. Alright, so we're going to go for a mixture of attack speed, damage, and critical hit, which is typically what you want for an offensive, for a non-caster offensive character. It varies depending on the character. Some want more of one stat than another, like especially advanced characters like Chimera, who really wants a lot of attack speed. But we'll cover that a little bit later. So, Heart of the Apex. This is going to be basically for a little bit of survival, so we'll put that in cheap. Get a nice big health boost, make us harder to kill. Cover Blade. That one will make for Pierce. So good mix of speed there. That's 20. Oh yes, another thing I should really point out is you only have a maximum of 60 card points to spend in a given game. A lot of games won't even necessarily go out that long, like to hit 60. So that's another thing worth bearing in mind, where it could actually be worth it to have just a bunch of equipment that's low cost, just to in case the game doesn't, or if you're just trying to rush things too, you can just close the game out early before you even have a chance to get to the end game. So here, I'm going to put a focus here on more help, more damage. And you're going to put a little more damage and some piercing. Physical penetration is actually a really important stat for attackers. Basically, it's there to negate enemy armor. So I'm not sure what the exact conversion is. It's fairly close to 1-to-1, but not quite, I think. But a general rule of thumb is around 80 total penetration is usually all you'll need to deal full or close to full damage to most heroes by end game. If you can actually see on the scoreboard too what everyone has equipped. So if you see people are having more or equipping more armor, typically tanks will do this, but sometimes damage dealers will do it too, or just to keep themselves alive more. You can always add in, like this is all I'll use here, but I could add in more just as a sideboard piece if I change my mind. If I feel like, okay, I'm not going to use the damage, I need more piercing, I'll just use that instead. But that'll be okay for now. So you can also only have a maximum of 40 cards too in the deck, so that's another thing to bear in mind. So I'm going to have to cut some stuff here, probably take Bounty Stalker out now that I think about it. You know, I probably won't use a lot of this crap either. Jungle Drink is nice. Lose the other Flashfire Piston. Blade of Agora we're going to want. Sure. Nope, I pitched the wrong one. I'm actually going to put them on first. I'm just rearranging the deck slightly here because one thing this is a biggie. And another thing I should point out, anytime you see that unique tag on a passive, it means that you can only have one of it. Even there are actually multiple oh wait, what if I have, sorry, I forgot, I need to ditch that card entirely. Anytime you see, crit bonus God damn it. Anytime you see a unique passive, yeah, you can only have one of them, even though there can be different cards that offer the same thing. So the Blade of Agora offers more damage, and then when you fully max out, it gives crit bonus. Just so does Heart of the Apex. Even though they're two different pieces of equipment, you can only ever have that extra 50% critical hit damage, which caps it out at 200. It's normally 150 by default, so you're doing 1.5 times your damage on a crit. I should also point out that critical hits can only happen on basic attacks. Your skills cannot do them, and you also cannot crit structures. You can only crit other players and minions. So rust break. So let's see this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Need some critical hit here badly. So let's probably actually push this. I'm actually going to pitch one of these two just to get a little more damage in. 12, 6. Alright, you can also only have 5 pieces of equipment on it at a given time, so that's another thing that's very important to keep in mind. How much critical hit do I have on here? That's about 33%. Ideally, with critical hit, you want a little over 50. Critical hit rate suffers from diminishing returns, so once you get over, I'd say even over 60%, it becomes overkill, unless you absolutely want to crit, but you're better off stacking more damage. So I don't need all these blades, actually. That's, again, too much. Just a little bit of throwaway equipment is nice to have. Just going to total this up real quick. 12, 24, 36, 40, 45, 51. Okay, so we got 9 points to mess around with. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That should actually do it. I was thinking of using this for the extra bit of lifesteal, but this guy's got regeneration, so he doesn't really need that. So let's just make sure everything adds up properly. How did I go over? 12, 24, 36. 45. No, that's fine. Okay, that should be good. Alright, so this is kind of like a basic deck with a decent mix of attack speed, critical hit chance, and damage. Not amazing, but this is really just to give a basic idea of how to go. Alright, so our deck is ready. Let's jump into the game. And we're just going to dick around against AI. Just to kind of showcase how the game works. So that was kind of a simple deck I just kind of threw together on the spot. Didn't put too much forethought into it or care into what my character does, but just... Alright, so here we go with the... So here's the draft. And let's just go pick here. So it's gonna go one player on this team, then one player on the other team, and then two more, and then the last set of 2 each. And then once you pick the character, that character is locked in and nobody else can pick them. At least no one on your team. I think it makes an exception for the AI, I'm not sure, but generally once someone's picked, that's it. Typically you want a good mix. Oh, you can also indicate like what role you're going to be playing your team here too. So there's assassin, fighter, which is what we're going to be doing, caster, ranger, which is your typical range DPS, and then support and tank. You really do want, it's very, very important to have a good balanced team. So you'll generally want at least one tank and one support, 1 or 2 rangers, 2 is better, but you're okay with 1, and you really do want like 1 assassin / jungler character. Jungler is actually listed as a position, not so much a role, but it really is like a role of its own. It's a super important one too. A good jungler can control how the entire flow of a match. And I'll probably showcase that afterwards. Game starts. And okay, hit the touchpad. We go in. Okay, let's select our deck. I should point out too that there are basic kind of starter decks, so if you don't have one made for a character, don't worry, they do provide you with decent options. Like this. So for starters, we'll take a key, health potion, and let's see, probably a jungle drink actually. The bump juice is nice, but. And and then we get to pick our abilities. Now, my personal preference is, at least for Rampage, is to go with the King of the Jungle. I really do like that passive. It increases regeneration, but in the early game, you do need a little bit. I have healing potions to cover that, so we're going to go with the Boulder Throw. So it deals a little bit of damage, but more importantly, it stuns people for a short time. As you can see, a fight's already breaking out over here. Our AI buddy is getting beaten up on, so... And I missed. To be fair, I was probably out of range, too. So that's what I was talking about. The minions are marching through. Just gonna wail on them for ESP. There we go, beautiful. And last hit again. So that's one of the most important mechanics in the game as well, is getting in the last hit on the minion. Simply letting them die to your other friendly minions will still get you EXP and Amber, but you won't get nearly as much as if you get the last hit on them. And the same thing also applies to enemy heroes and towers and whatnot. It is worth noting though, and even though it's somewhat of a competitive mechanic, as long as somebody on your team gets the last hit on a minion, you will share the points. I believe right now it's currently 100% the first person to get an assist, and then each successive assist afterwards gets decidedly less EXP. I think it goes down to 50% if it's split 3 ways, and if it's 4 or more, it goes down to 25, or even 0 if it's 5. So, the whole point of this is to discourage death falling, because this was a big problem in the game for a while. People would just come into get in packs with like 3 or more heroes and just march down the lane and basically steamroll the opposition. A typical game length for this is usually between 30 and 35 minutes, or at least that's their stated goal. I think right now it's jumping between 37 and 42, so they're Epic is making little tweaks or adjust things to shorten the match time quite a bit. Unfortunately, the enemy hero right now is way too far into their tower. If I go in and attack her, the tower will light me up and kill me in no time. So I have to hope that she either comes out after me or find a way to lure her in. It's AI, they're stupid, so it's probably not going to happen. Here's a quick point about wards, though, like I was making earlier. So see how there's multiple paths in here. There's a little side thing here, including a shadow pane, so you can come down here and stealth, and they can't see you unless they come in here. Typically what'll happen is good jungle characters will be sitting right around here waiting to jump in. So I'm gonna, for the purposes of demonstration, I'm gonna sit back and wait, and you can try to do just that. So the minions are gonna duke it out. We may have pushed her too far back to actually let her come out. But anyway, usually, yeah, the AI will push in, so it'll come out, and then get the jump on. Didn't happen this time, but that's usually. And we've almost got enough, actually we've already gained 1 card level, almost have enough for some good upgrades. Typically, you don't want to go back to your base before you have at least not card level 9. But I'm a little behind on things, so but that's okay because this is just a tutorial match. So here's where having the key is really nice. See, I only had to sit there for a few seconds to get the harvester up and going. So that's going to build now that I've set it up, and it's going to slowly collect amber over time. Okay, that one's already up. The harvesters, at least the initial ones, come in at around 3 minutes. The ones on the outer edge of the map come in at about 6 minutes, and then the last ones come in at 9. So let's just put that jungle drinking. So here I'm hitting them for about 42 damage. Turn that baby on, and then get another 6 points. And a nice chunk of regeneration. The character I'm using in particular right now, Rampage, has a special passive too, where he gains more regeneration just in general, but also he needs even more when he's in the jungle. So right now mine's at level 2, and I'm in the jungle. It's giving me an extra 4.5 health a second. I should note too that regen as a whole is typically a fairly weak mechanic. I prefer to avoid it where possible. Just you only get 1.4 points per card point spent, versus if you increase health directly, you get about 100. And even if you spend your entire 60 points on health regeneration, you're only going to top out at like a little over 80 points, versus like a potential 6,000 health. So, yeah, it's not a good deal. But there are certain cards that only have regen as an upgrade choice that offer beneficial effects, such as overflowing gifts. And so there are times where it can't be avoided, but when it can be, do so. Okay, so I'm going to discard the jungle drink, and we're going to put on one of our small equipments now for a little bit of a bonus. So, boom, and then the last point there. And as you can see, our physical damage went up and our attack speed. So you can see it right here. We have a total of plus 30 attack and plus 37.9 attack and plus 19.5 attack speed. And plus the additional 6.5 from, that's including the bonus from the card too. So it's a pretty good deal right there. And now we're going to push back up. Actually, there is a huge fight going on in the center, so we're going to rush right over there. Now, of course, it's just dummy AI, so they won't see that, but it's very important to use those little shortcuts to communicate to your team where you are and what's going on. Unfortunately, my teammates are all being stupid because they don't lost, so kind of stuck my foot in my mouth there, just jumping into that. Ah, crap. Yep. Even my ultimate didn't save me. So yeah, starting at level 5, every character has an ultimate that they can get, and you can level up 2 more times. It's, I guess you could call it their signature ability. They all cost 100 mana to use. They usually give you a very powerful effect for a short duration, like a big spike in damage. Or you have characters like Kalari who can teleport to another player and attack them across the map. Murdoch is really cool. He basically pulls out a giant sniper and can shoot through anything and hit anyone on the map. You do have to aim it, so it's a skill shot, but there's absolutely no stopping it, and he completely ignores armor. Boulder, stuns him briefly, and boom, buddy. Every time you kill an enemy hero, it gives the person who killed them a bit of a bonus, and the entire team also gets a nice chunk of EXP and Amber. Conversely, that also makes dying like really, really bad. This is commonly referred to as feeding, and it's something you want to avoid as much as possible. Like if your teammates are constantly getting killed, not only does it take you out of the fight, leaving the enemy team free to farm the lane for EXP and card points on minions, but they get their whole team gets a big boost in it as well. So it's too many deaths will basically lead to a match snowballing completely out of control to the point where it's just unwinnable, even with the buff from the door. Which really good luck getting it at that point too if you're that far behind. Now it actually I'm just going to point out real quick, it used to be the case where even your basic attack was something you had to level up, but in the version 27 they actually changed it, so now every character just gains attack damage, attack speed, armor, and whatnot automatically if you level up. You don't have to spend your level up. So what you saw right there was the tower was attacking me because all my minions died. You typically want to let your minions go in first and tank the damage. You can freely attack the tower as long as there are minions hitting it first. Just be aware that if there's an enemy hero present, the moment you do anything to hurt them while they're in that area, assuming you're in range of the tower, it will attack you. It will automatically enemies nearby and attack. So be careful. So like right now, I'm basically tower diving, going after them because my super gives me a ton of health to get. Kill them, and then get the hell out of there. And you see now the tower's back to focusing on the minions, so I'm safe to go and attack. And towers do have armor, so as you can see, I'm only doing 53 damage a hit. Whereas if I hit a minion, I'm doing about 76. Out of minions, gotta pull back. And the towers will do increasingly, increasing amounts of damage with each successive hit. So if it starts hitting you, get out of there as quick as possible. It's also a really good idea if you're playing a character like Decker who can stun and trap people to save, if your tower is being attacked, save those abilities for if the heroes get too close, so then you can trap them inside and the tower will finish them off and there's nothing you can do about it. So here, I'll show you when I need to come in, I'll whack him, and boom, the tower is instantly off range of the like all the most of the harvesters are up on our side, so there's no reason for me to hold my key anymore. And, oh wow, I've actually got 9 unspent power. That is way too much. Okay, so I'm going to let the AI handle this, and I'm going to go back to the base, which is just clicking R3. I believe it's D on PC. So we come back. You can actually look at your cards at any time, but you can only spend your points back at the base, so we have to come back here. So let's ditch that key, we don't need it anymore. And let's start getting toward the build. So let's get some speed here. We'll start with this one, get some more attack speed and damage. Boom, boom. This is still okay. I'm going to hold on to this for a little bit longer. But I will be discarding that soon. So here he's coming in. Alright, unfortunately I whiffed it. Oh, God, see, the AI is a moron. Team right. No player will ever be that stupid. But that was what it... See, if I hadn't missed the stone throw, I could have trapped him right there for a couple of seconds and just given the tower more free hits. Rampage's ultimate, if you haven't noticed already, gives him a massive... Well, it doesn't just make him look cool in reviews, it gives him a crap ton of regeneration. Currently mine is level... so I'm getting additional 100 health a second. Unfortunately, the teammates are being stupid and not coming in, so I'm going to have to bail on that fight just for a brief moment. Oh yeah, here's another thing I should mention too. These little side mini camps, you can farm them for EXP and Amber. If you leave them alone for a while, they will level up. As you can see right now, they're level 5, so they're giving it crap. And the AI is being relentless. Oh yeah, they're after me. Probably gonna get killed here, just because there's too many. Yeah, if you run for long enough without taking damage, you will automatically go into sprint mode. It used to be that you could engage this like at will, but they've recently removed that because they were finding that people were just using it. It was messing with the gameplay too much, and their plan, I believe, is to remove it altogether eventually. Oh my god. So I'm gonna see if I can sucker them. Yep. Alright, let's see if I can sucker them into chasing me into the tower. Nope, they're backing up. And there's also special little camps here. There's 4 of them. There's a red camp, a blue camp, a black camp, and then there's the prime guardian. So I'm going to be attacking the red one here. These guys also give more EXP and Amber compared to the regular camps too. But the main thing here is, so I killed him, I picked up the red orb, and now I have the red buff, which gives me an increased on damage and movement speed whenever I hit something. It's going to make it a lot easier to deal with the camps. I'm falling behind a bit here, so I need to level up. Since the AI is essentially retarded, so pretty well forced to carry. I'm aware I'm banking a lot of card points right now, but I need to go and clear the map while the AI is dicking around. Rampage actually gets a greatly increased reach distance too when his ultimate's active, but I didn't want to pop it. Alright, so there's Decker's Containment Fence. That's her ultimate. It keeps enemies from going in or out, although teammates will either come and go. It's one of the more annoying ones. It can really swing team fights. And you can use it to try and basically want to use it to either trap a whole team or separate certain members from the rest of the team and single them out. Which is really great. It has really great synergy with a character like Chimera, who's all about dueling people. He's basically the character's best one-on-one fighter. With certain exceptions, for the most part, if you're stuck in a one-on-one fight with you do not want to be in that situation. So here I'm going to get rage. Not quite what I meant to do, but it worked. And that was Murdoch's ultimate right there. Versus, I think the AI. No, actually, it looks like the AI hit. He just didn't get a kill. That up. Alright, now we're going to toss this because we have a whole bunch of points to spend and we need to get going. We need to get this build going, like, real quick. So let's get some more. I should note, too, there is a hard tack on attack speed. I think the rough value is somewhere around 260 for the hard cap, which gets you 2.5 attacks a second, which is really crazy powerful. But it's better on some characters than others, so it's not something you necessarily want to shoot for in every single character. So now we need to start building the critical hit up. So we'll put that. Unfortunately, I have. Alright, so let's use that just so we're floating less mana. Don't quite have enough points yet to start fully upgrading stuff. Now we're progressing into the late game. So this is typically where you'll start to see like builds really come into full bloom and start kicking ass. Now this is kind of a haphazard deck I threw together. It doesn't have like a specific goal in mind. It's sort of like a general mishmash of abilities. You know, it's enough to work. For instance, some characters will want to focus a lot more on cooldown reduction, like Gideon or Gadget. Other characters really want to get a lot of good hit rate, like Pharaoh or Twin. Some characters want a lot of health and armor, like Bedrock. It depends on the character, it also depends on the build. So with that, certain characters build like more. Oh wow, Boulder's it's just instant. Okay. I think that was a recent change I didn't really know about. Cooldown reduction in particular is it's nice to have, but it's not really super necessary. It's most noticeable on things like your ultimates, which by default take 100 seconds to recharge, which is quite a while. It also has a hard cap of 40%. So that in mind. So now we got a pretty good mix of attack speed and damage. We're pretty much carrying through stuff. Just trying to build up the critical hit rate a little bit more, and then we're going to go up with real power of build. So here's the blue camp. I'm just going to smack these guys real quick. Get a ton of vehicles. See that crit going in there? Alright, now we got the blue buff. Yeah, you can hold multiple buffs at once. It's not like you can only have one, and if you pick up another, you lose it. So the blue buff gives you a bunch of mana regeneration and cooldown reduction, which will be reflected in my stats. So it's giving me it's actually not showing up. That's kind of weird. I don't know what my teammates are doing, other than being their usual dumb selves. I actually have quite a bit of card power bank now from killing those camps, so you can start to really get the critical hit machine going. Ideally, I would like to go try and kill the camp. That's point blast, isn't it? But it's not enough to stop. The stuns are actually really vital for that too, because you can knock people out of their ultimates altogether, or can't, or interrupt them. There are a few you can't stop once they're going outside of a few abilities. But for the most part, you can use like a quick stun or a silence to shut it down. So now we have a good bit of crit there. Let's put the impact hammer on. Get a little more crit. Alright, so now we're up to 45%, which is pretty good. So the next step will be to get the heart of the apex going. Once that's up and running, then you're going to start seeing the big numbers fly. We're going to go get the black buff now, because we really need to start pushing those towers and knocking the AI back into their zone.
Enemy has been slain.
It's a serious matter of debate too, whether you're better off getting more speed or base damage with critical hits, since critical hit acts as a multiplier. I think it depends on the character. Because crits only affect your basic attack and not your other abilities, like if you're not super ability dependent, then it is a good idea to get attack speed, because you'll be critting more often. But for some characters like Fang Mao, who has an ability that jacks up the base damage of his attack, it can work quite well to have a high base damage instead of attack speed. just because, like, so you can use this brush to teleport, get like a 50% base damage increase on his attack, and then stack that on top of the crit multiplier and just hit for a truckload of damage only. Really great for getting the jump on people and bursting a ton of damage. I hope the volume's not too loud, guys. Not a whole lot I can do about the mic audio right now, unfortunately. Now, I'm just gonna, because my ultimate gives me so much intimidation, I'm just gonna dive the tower. Wail on it. This is where lifesteal becomes incredibly valuable as well. Like if I had some lifesteal, I would be just leeching back a ton of health from all those attacks. It's honestly one of the most broken mechanics in the game right now. I believe it's 4% for every card point spent, so for every so if you have about, let's say, 5 points for 20% of your auto attack damage after reduction from armor comes back as life. It only works against other minions though, and heroes. You cannot leech life from structures. So here we go, let's get this going, and now, boom, we have 200% crit bonus. I really don't know why it's not showing up here. It should be. That. We're actually almost at full power. Ditch the potion and get our last bit of damage going. I'm actually going to put my piercing on so that I'm getting full, well, as close to full damage as possible. Another important thing to keep in mind too is card scaling. As your hero levels up throughout a match, the gains you get from your cards actually reduces. And each hero type has different scaling. So casters gain the least benefit overall from cards, like in terms of their raw stats, but their spells will gain substantial benefit. So if you have a lot of energy damage on Gideon, for example, your spells will hit on the cards, but your auto attacks will not go up all that much in damage. Fighters like Rampage here, or Steel, or Rictor, you can also serve as tanks. Typically start with a good chunk of damage and have modest scaling, and then the Rangers like Sparrow or Murdoch, they gain the most from to their base stats from cards. They just start off a little bit weaker, but they snowball very quickly. Boom, right there, 350. Actually, let's go get the OP buff. Let's go demonstrate that and just how ridiculous that is. Now, might be just a little bit difficult since they changed it now. The Prime Guardian actually levels up as well as time goes on. It's pretty freaking hard to kill. I believe he also levels up after he respawns as well. Check on Mr. Prime Guardian. There he is, the big pink glowy. And don't let his appearance fool him. Yeah, he looks good. He really does, with that pink color scheme. But he hits like a monster. Thankfully, so do I. have a bit of a higher critical hit rate. I'm actually sub 50, which is not great, but even 45% is respectable. And I'm gonna have to ultimate here, or else he's gonna kill me. There's a little knockback effect. He also has a little looting ability right there. Boom, boom, die already, come on. Alright, so you kill him, and he drops whopping 1200 card power for the entire team. I'm not sure if he gives any EXP, I don't think he does. So now I have two choices. You can see on the mini-map there's a glowing orange circle and a glowing blue circle. If I take it to the orange circle, it'll respawn our inhibitors if they're still up, so there's no point in doing that right now. But that can be a huge benefit, like if your team is losing, that can be a very clutch comeback mechanic right there. I'm gonna just go with the original plan, which is to dunk it in the enemy team side, which will activate every team member's prime cards. So remember I was showing Chase those 3 cards at the beginning of the deck earlier? Well, now they're active. In my case, I'm getting 70 some extra damage, and now my all the minions are going to be doing bonus damage as well. And look at that, just pour right through her and nothing she can do about it. I actually can't check it from here, that's annoying. It's just kind of there. Alright, unfortunately don't really have my minions here. Oh, I'm dead. Nothing you can do about it. Just way too much damage. And then the friend was the super minions respawning. So now basically we're going to get huge waves of minions coming in to approach the enemy core. And thus this is the ultimate object of the game, is to come in and smack that thing all. Now as we're right into the heart of the team phase, you know, there's obviously going to be mounted a couple of things. Or well, they would have been. Quite a pain in the hand. Now, since I have so much health again, I'm just going to go ahead and there's nothing. They can't kill me, I'm doing too much damage. Boom, game over. Most characters really can't get away with that because of Rampage's ridiculous regen when he ults and the combination of the high attack speed and the orb and just gone. Gone. All structures do have a good roughly 65 armor. I think the core is around 100-ish. I know it's fairly high. But thanks to the piercing though, I'm not really losing much damage. Alright, so that's the basics of the game. It was just a brief little exhibition match against dummy AI. The actual game against other players is much more nuanced. I should note too that when you're playing against AI like that, at least by yourself, you don't earn any experience or reputation, as you'll see in a moment. So boom, nothing. Co-op does, you will earn, I believe, some experience up to level 10. After that, you need to play either against other players or in co-op. Co-op will keep going past 20, but you start getting less EXP past that. It's really to encourage PvP. And there's also little weekly quests and daily victory chests that they've added in as well too. You can have up to 3 of them. So typically you get one every 24 hours, and so you complete a game. So as soon as you win a game, you'll unlock one of these and get a little bonus, usually like some extra reputation or coins. The weekly quests are actually really cool too. So there's usually a big initial prize that you'll get for on your first win. And then there's 4 additional mini objectives that you can do. So for this week, it was win 4 games as a mage, set 10 harvesters, take down 10 inhibitors, and get 250 kills. You can do these quests versus AI too, so don't feel pressure to try to do them against other players. As soon as you do the main one, yes, you do get the one big prize. Doing each of these though will give you an additional random card or other reward. This week it was a random affinity card for each affinity, so it was pretty nice. That about covers it for now. I'll get into more advanced stuff later with regards to like specific heroes and builds, but that was just to showcase how the game works. Like I said, the main takeaway here is work as a team. You know, don't just be silent. Pay attention to what's going on. For the love of God, do not go AFK. And if you see a big team fight breaking out, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Even if you're duking out with another player or trying to take down a tower, help your teammates out, jump in, win those big fights, because if you every one of those big fights that you lose will just put you in a downward spiral to losing. The team fights are the biggest, most important thing. It is absolutely crucial to win them. Anyway, so yeah, have fun with the game, guys. It's this game is 100% free to play. It will be going in open beta in August, but as I said earlier, PlayStation Plus members are going to get the free basic access to it starting on Tuesday. All right, and I'll see you next time for more advanced stuff.